Hello everyone, it's Chris. It's another beautiful day in Western New York. When I say beautiful, I mean it's gonna hit 70 today. It's late October. Whoa, these hills come up on you quick here on this road. It's late October. It is peak foliage right now. I am certain of it, that it's peak foliage. This is the Zoar Valley Road. We've been here before a couple of times, and I wanted to come down here today because it's only about an hour from where I live, and it's an awesome road with, like, I don't know if you can see, but this is just a series of like whoop-de-doos, hills, and whoa, and if you hit them too fast you bottom out. I know from experience on the Spyder. But we're not just doing a fall foliage ride today. I want to talk to you about a couple of things, and these twisties, really, these curves really come up quick on this road. I want to talk with you about my riding jacket, my Tourmaster riding jacket, which I love, but I'm wrestling with buying another jacket. And as a minimalist, it's like a minimalist dilemma. I do not like to, it's not the monetary aspect of it, although that's always a part of it. People confuse, they conflate minimalism with frugality, and they're two different things. Isn't that beautiful, that color? So we're going to talk a little bit about the jacket and why I'm considering getting another jacket. I want to tell you about another YouTube channel and one specific video that I just watched, and I got a real kick out of it. But it was Spyder content that anybody who's interested in the Spyder would want to watch, particularly somebody who's considering buying a Spyder and wondering what it would be like with a passenger. It's a real good video. Before we get into it, let me just tell you our destination. We're headed to, so we're in the Zoar Valley right now. We're on Zoar Valley Road. This is a kind of an iconic place in Western New York. It kind of follows the meandering Karagas Creek, because I'm going to take you to the Zoar Valley multiple use area, and it's pretty awesome. Like Planet of the Apes movie awesome, and I'll explain in a second. Before I explain that, that's a pretty scene with the creek right there. If you don't subscribe to my channel, if you would, I sure would appreciate it. So I guess I mentioned the movie The Planet of the Apes in relation to the Zoar Valley multiple use area. So it is a place to go hiking. Invariably, hikers get really jammed up. It seems every year there's a serious injury or worse at the Zoar Valley because it is very primitive. I've taken you to many New York State parks that are managed by the New York State Park System, and it's basically wild land that they've tamed, that the State Park System tamed. Many of them were tamed during the Great Depression by the Civilian Conservation Corps, and that happened throughout the country. And they are to this day maintained by New York State Parks, and they have really well groomed and in some cases paved trails, and if there's a problem on the trails, they're well marked, etc., etc. The Zoar Valley multiple use area is not a state park. It is managed by the state, and I'm not an expert on this at all. I've been hiking here many times, but I'm not an expert on it. But it is much more primitive. There's like a little parking area, and then you go into the woods and there's a trail, but it's not a well-defined trail. But when you come out of that trail and you're basically in the creek, this is a neat hill right here. It is awesome, and it reminds me of the opening scene of the 1967 movie The Planet of the Apes, the original one with Charlton Heston, when the spaceship crashes on what they think is another planet. But you see what I mean about the twisties here. They think it's another planet, but it's really Earth in like a couple of thousand years. But anyway, it's the Zoar Valley. The place I'm going to take you to reminds me of that setting. And I haven't seen that movie in so long. It might not look at all like that setting, but it does remind me of it. And then when I'm right there, I'll shoot a quick video so you can say you've seen the Zoar Valley from down in the river. We're going in the creek. You'll see what I mean when we get there. There's the creek dead ahead. I mentioned another channel So long ago, when I was doing my research on buying the Spyder, I went through a lot of YouTube channels that I didn't really understand YouTube at that time. Some might say I still don't understand it, but that's a different story. But I didn't always subscribe to the videos and the channels, even though I thought the content was compelling, because I didn't really understand it. Like, what is a subscription? Do you pay for it? And didn't want to get trapped into something I didn't understand. But anyway, I watched a series of videos on the Spyder on YouTube, and it became my primary information source. I did a lot of Googling. I read articles. I went to the Spyder forums. There's two that I know of that are really, really helpful. But YouTube became my primary information source on the Spyder. You can see what I mean about the foliage. Now, some of those channels were like primary Spyder channels. And I hate to name channels because there's so many of them that have been helpful to me, but I'll just, you know, a channel like Coach Bob is like primarily a Spyder channel. Yes, he covers other things, but for the most part, it's a Spyder channel. Like Sean Smokes' channel, which is, you know, a great channel, but he's got a much broader lineup than just the Spyder, because he works on so many different things and he rides so many different things. I mention that because there's a guy here in Western New York who at the time I didn't know was in Western New York, who rides all different kind of motorcycles and does videos on all different kind of motorcycles. And he did a video on the Can-Am Spyder RT Limited. I forgot when he did the video, but I watched it before I bought the Spyder, and I bought the Spyder on March 13th. So he does this video on this, and it was a long video. I want to say it was 45 minutes, but it was so funny watching him ride the Spyder, because he was having the time of his life. And you know, you can tell when someone's excited, you can tell when someone is having a good time on a bike, because I mean, he was just getting really excited about it. And I mentioned this video because it was one of the many videos that helped me make the decision to go ahead and buy the Spyder. And the video was on the channel called Marauder Melli. And instead of spelling it out, I'm gonna type it out when I edit this video. Marauder Melli. Now, I subscribe to his channel, but I don't watch all his content because, quite frankly, I'm just interested in the Spyder. Well, the dealer that let him use the Spyder back when, for the first video that I saw him cut, gave him a Spyder RT Limited to use for like a month. So now he's cutting a series of videos on the Spyder. And by the way, the guy happens to be a local guy, local here in Western New York, and I didn't know that when I first was watching his videos. When I was watching that first video on the Spyder, until all of a sudden I see he's on like Route 39. And by the way, I was just on Route 39 before I got on the Zoar Valley Road. And I think to myself, you know, this is Route 39, it's hilly. I'll bet you that's the road that runs in and out of Springville, and it turns out it was. So the guy's a local guy. Doesn't live in Niagara Falls, but he's close. But anyway, he's now got a Spyder for a month, and he's shooting a series of videos on the Spyder. And if you're into Spyders, you're going to want to watch those videos, which is why I'm mentioning his channel here. But this video that I watched this morning, he wanted to give the viewer an impression of what it was like to take a passenger, both from his standpoint and from the passenger standpoint. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. This road just never gets old, because these twists and these turns and these hills are just like really something. And if you're not careful, this is and especially on a two-wheel motorcycle, and I speak from experience, there's a lot of loose sand and gravel on this road, and if you're not careful, it can make for a bad day. But anyway, so he goes for a ride with his daughter, and his daughter's inexperienced on motorcycles, and so she gets on the back of the Spyder, and there's a little confusion about how do you get on. And I get that, because It is confusing. You got to put your foot over the hump, the backrest, which is part of the top case. But anyway, she gets on and she's looking around and she says, "There's no seatbelts?" And it was the funniest thing. Anyway, if you're into Spyders, whether you have a Spyder or we want to go this way, or you're interested in the Spyder, especially if you're interested in the Spyder and taking your wife or your girlfriend or whatever for a ride, or there are plenty of women Spyder riders, your boyfriend or your husband, then I would seriously consider watching that video and even subscribing to that channel, because he's going to cut a series of these Spyder videos. Again, it's Marauder Melli. I do not know how to link a video. I see YouTubers where they'll say, okay, I'm going to put a link to it right here on the video, and the link appears. I don't know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is just spell out his YouTube channel name, and you can easily find it on YouTube. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is my jacket, my riding jacket. So a little background: I used to have motorcycles and a lot of other toys, snowmobiles and four-wheelers, and I think I mentioned, you know, I'm a private pilot. I used to actually have an aircraft. I used to like my toys, and then about 15 years ago I became a minimalist. And when I became a minimalist, I said, no toys. I got rid of everything. Got rid of everything. And as you know, when you have a toy, whether that's aircraft or a snowmobile or whatever, you invariably need accessories. You need a riding jacket and riding gloves, and not just riding gloves, but multiple pairs for different purposes and whatnot. I got rid of all of it. Got rid of my helmets and everything, because I was done with toys. Aren't these colors beautiful? Look at those oranges there. Oh, this is a whole stretch of beauty. So I got rid of all my toys. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, it was only a few years that I didn't have toys. About 6 or 7 years ago, I said, you know what? I need a toy. And the most practical toy is a motorcycle, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, to make a long story short, bought a motorcycle, and I needed to re-buy all the stuff that I got rid of. All of the gear. So I bought from the dealer that I bought my motorcycle, it was a Kawasaki Versys, I bought this riding jacket. It's a Tourmaster. Tourmaster, it's kind of a tricky brand. You know, Climb, and there's so many motorcycle brands that you can go on their website. Oh, this is beautiful. And just get information on the company and the products they sell and whatnot. But Tourmaster, believe it or not, there is no Tourmaster. There's no, like, company called Tourmaster, at least that I can figure out. There's a company called Helmet House that sells a lot of different brands of motorcycle gear, including Tourmaster. And that, as near as I can tell, is the source of Tourmaster. Someone please comment if you know more about this than I do, or you're a better investigative reporter than I am. But anyway, I bought a Tourmaster from my dealer, and I love it. It was a cheap jacket. It was $250, and if you know motorcycle jackets, I mean, there are Climb jackets that are $1,800. I'm sorry, but I can't bring myself to do it. It's a good, as far as I'm concerned, 4-season jacket. It's got a zip-out lining. It's got vents that zip up so that you can ride it year-round. In the summer, even with the vents open, it gets hot. I've got an Alpine Stars mesh jacket, but that also gets hot. The jacket is not waterproof. It is it is waterproof because of the pull-out line, the zip-out liner, but the jacket itself is not. The outer shell is not. So the rider, if you get the liner in it, stays dry, but the jacket has water. I don't want to say waterlogged, but that's essentially what happens. So that's one issue that I have with it. Now, it's not really a big issue because I have rain gear on the bike. I carry in my right case now. I carry my rain gear. I've got 3 pieces to my rain gear. I've got a pair of gaiters that kind of cover up my shoes or my boots and zip up over or under, I should say, my Frog Togs rain pants, and I've got a El Cheapo Columbia bright orange oversized rainproof windbreaker, so I can just pull over and put that windbreaker over the Tourmaster jacket. It's oversized. The raincoat is way bigger than what I need because I want it to fit comfortably over the jacket, and it does. So it's not really a big deal that it's not rainproof. Oh wow, beautiful. Look at these reds. I guess these are maple trees here. That is just beautiful. So why am I talking about my jacket and a possible new jacket? So this jacket is held up remarkably well. It was once just a straight black jacket, is now kind of faded. I don't know what color you'd call it, but it's like faded. That doesn't bother me at all. The aesthetics of it mean nothing to me. The lack of waterproof isn't a huge deal, but it would be helpful if it was waterproof. It certainly would, you know, on days when a rain is like fleeting, and so I don't want to get off the bike and put on all my rain gear, you know, I'll just suffer through it because I know it's going to blow past quickly. In those cases, a rainproof jacket would be helpful. The other thing about this jacket is there's Velcro all over the jacket. There's Velcro here on the sleeves. There's Velcro, you can't see it, but it's on the neck. There's Velcro that closes up the flap that covers up the zipper. And the Velcro is holding up very well. But the Velcro on the neck that closes the tab is, well, for a while now, for a couple of years now, I don't know if it's because it's frayed. So this is the spot where there used to be a yellow submarine right there, and it was there for years, a tiny little yellow submarine. I'd love to know what happened to that. So because of that fraying Velcro, or whatever the issue is, I think partly the issue is that the Velcro is so small, both the male and the female ends of the Velcro is so small that anyway it doesn't hold. And for a guy that rides year round, and we're coming up to winter, although you'd never know it by today, there's the Gowanda train station, it would be nice to have a flap that seals solidly. So Tourmaster has a new jacket. I want to say it's a couple of years old, but compared to the jacket I'm wearing now, it would be a new jacket that is waterproof. Like the shell is waterproof, and that really appeals to me. And they changed the Velcro closure so that there's like a magnetic snap, and that appeals to me. Additionally, they changed the way this Tourmaster that I'm wearing now, which is the Transition 4, Tourmaster Transition 4, which again, I love this jacket. It has zippered vents, but they easily kind of close and seal up even when they're unzipped. Whereas the new one, I guess, has like either magnetic or somehow the vents hold open, wide open, to give you a lot of air, and that would be very helpful. Especially considering that I'm planning a Florida trip on this thing, and I'll talk more about that in another video. And on the Florida trip, I do not want to bring my mesh jacket. What I want to do is ride down with this jacket, well, not this jacket, but if I get the new one, I'd ride down with this jacket. At some point when I hit the south, I would take out the zip out liner, the thermal liner, and then when I get down to South Florida, I could just open up the vents and it would be more comfortable, and I wouldn't have to take the mesh jacket. So as a minimalist, you know, wrestling with that is a big deal. Again, it's not really the money. So that's the other thing. I need to mention the money though. So this jacket that I bought cost me $250. Now this was 6 or 7 years ago. The new Tourmaster, which they call, I think they call it the Highlander WP for waterproof jacket, that costs $400. Now that's a lot of money, but when you consider that comparable jackets cost well north of $500, and Klein makes some jackets they charge like $1,800 for it. The thing is, this jacket still is functional, and part of me wants to just ride this jacket until it collapses That's a beautiful panorama. Those colors popping. Part of me wants to just ride this jacket into the ground, and let's say it lasts a couple more years, then something new I can, you know, consider. However, because I'm doing so much more touring and spending so much more time on this, oh, this is awesome. This is beautiful. And this is one of those days where on a two-wheel motorcycle, you got to be careful with these leaves on the streets, because they can get slippery when they're gathering on the streets, because they hold moisture and water much more than the road does. But now that I'm doing so many more tours on this thing, and especially because this Florida trip would be just a multi-season trip, because I'd be going through different climate zones and whatnot, and the timing that I'd be doing it, which is late March, early April, there's an appeal for me to buy that jacket. So I'm wrestling with that. When I buy it, you'll know about it. When we get to the Zoar Valley, well, we're in the Zoar Valley. When we get to the place, it's a confluence of rivers that come into this canyon. You'll see what I mean momentarily. I say momentarily. For me, it's going to be about an hour to slog down there. And it's always wet down there. It hasn't rained here in a while, but it seems like it's always wet down there nevertheless. But that's okay. I'm dressed for it. I'm ready for a good hike. Regarding the jacket, I'd love to know what those of you who ride wear for jackets. Those are beautiful trees. And why? What type of jacket do you wear, and why do you wear that jacket? For those of you that are new to motorcycling, or about to get a Spyder, or want to get a Spyder, but maybe you're not into motorsports, I just want to, like, this is going to be elementary for, whoa, I need to slow down here. We're now on gravel. So the purpose of the riding jacket is safety. So this jacket is very abrasion resistant. If I hit the pavement at high speeds and I'm not wearing a jacket like this, my skin and my flesh will get shredded, whereas this is going to protect me. Zoar Valley multiple use area. In addition to the abrasion resistance, I've got padding, light padding in my elbows. It's sewn right into the jacket. And my shoulders, and a light padding in my back. That is also zip out padding. But the point of the jacket is protective. Now, I will tell you, and I've mentioned this in another video, often I will ride around town on the Spyder without my protective jacket, with some other jacket to keep me warm or whatever, because I don't feel I need as much protection on the Spyder as I do when I rode my two-wheel motorcycle. And we've wrestled with this in a couple of my videos, one on the safety of the Spyder and two on hot weather riding. There have been times where I've ridden, you know, even on interstates, where I just had the t-shirt on because it was so hot, but I felt so much more assured because of the Spyder. Trust me, you're gonna love this Zoar Valley scene that you're about to see. So anyway, that's why we wear riding jackets. And you know, some people have multiple jackets. I right now have two. This Tourmaster and the Alpine Stars mesh jacket. If I get a new jacket, I'll probably keep this jacket. As a minimalist, that kills me to do that. But I don't know that I could sell a jacket like this for any amount of money, and it wouldn't hurt to keep it just in case something happened. Maybe the new jacket gets stolen. I leave it on the bike, go in the grocery store, it gets stolen, and something crazy happens. But okay, so this is the parking area. I'm going to go for a long hike. You won't know it because you're not going to exert yourself. You're going to just magically appear deep in the Zoar Valley in Karagas Creek. And you'll see what I mean momentarily. So the trail is kind of narrow and zigs down this very steep and windy hill. But you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but how deep it goes down. I mean, that's a deep valley. So if you make a mistake on this trail, that would make for a bad day. We're in the bottomlands now. We're on kind of flat land, heading towards Karagas Creek. And it's just this beautiful winding trail between us and the creek. So just a quick diversion off the trail that I just took you along. There's this side trail that I never saw before, and my guess is it was never cut out before, but you can see this old foundation to something, to some kind of cool structure that was here. It goes way back there, long ago. I thought that was pretty neat. Okay, we are now in Karagas Creek. There are two different branches of the creek that form a confluence here. And oh, there's an old couple enjoying the creek there, but they flow this way. But isn't this awesome? Okay, so that trail is a lot more arduous coming back to this area than it is going down, because it's almost all uphill. Once you get past that flat bottoms area, it's all uphill. You'll notice that I don't have my gloves on or my riding jacket, and that's because it's, well, according to the Spyder, it says 88. There's no way it's 88. My guess is it's mid-70s, but after that long hike, uphill, most of it uphill, I am sweaty and I'm not in the mood for riding gear. Quite frankly, if this was a state that didn't have a helmet law, I wouldn't have the helmet on either, just until we get down the road and a nice breeze is coming over me, and then I'll put everything back on. I hope you enjoyed Zoar Valley. I know I did, despite the strenuous activity, or maybe because of the strenuous activity. I hope you liked it. If you have any thoughts on not just Zoar Valley, not just the fall foliage, but riding gear, the riding jacket, my dilemma about buying a new jacket, what you use as a jacket, make sure to check out Marauder Melli. I'll spell that out again right here at the end for you. If there's anything that you have any thoughts on, please comment. If you like the video, please hit like, and until the next video, as always, you have a great day. Bye-bye.